Tell me, how are you?
I'm great.
All right. Let's just start. Please introduce yourself.
Okay.
Your voice is
Ready?
breaking. Your internet is shaky a bit. Yeah, now better. It's better now.
Okay. Great. So,
Yeah.
hi. As I already mentioned, my name is Anjali Meghdani. As a personality, I'm an extrovert with an inquisitive nature in which I like to ask questions, and by nature, I am cheerful and I really like to talk to people a lot. Why I'm here in digital marketing position is because I really see a future in this position. So I will start from the very starting why I'm here. I completed my graduation, my schooling from a small town in Jodhpur, Rajasthan. Then after doing my schooling for seeking more opportunities, I went to Mumbai for my further education. I did my bachelor's degree in commerce from Mumbai. And when I was in Mumbai, I completed one of the courses that is seen that is a systematic enhancement ability to lead. It was a course done by Baseline Media, in which I also did a digital marketing course. And after completing my graduation, COVID happened. I didn't knew I wanted to do in my life, and I really liked the study in digital marketing. So I joined a Learnica Digital Marketing Masterclass, in which I have completed 3 month course, a 12 week course, in which I have been a part of real campaign immersion. So this is my career.
All right. So, what was the degree that you pursued in your graduation?
That is a commerce become.
Okay. So, how do you explain that your degree benefited your digital marketing career?
I think every degree benefits, college benefited more over a degree because my college was Dehan College, Mumbai, and during that time I was a part of various activities. One of the main event that I was head of department was Entourage, in which I was the head of department of digitals, in which I had to post create content for our digital website. There is Instagram, Facebook, and everywhere. Do post, do interactive, and make new banners for the roadside banners and everything. So that helped me a lot, and I was also a part of a digital social media team of Inactors India. So
Okay.
that helped
So,
in my college.
yeah. Okay. So, what drew you to the digital marketing field is because of the activities during your college time?
As I told you, from the first year of college, I expected college to be a little too much. Like I wanted a whole experience, and it was not because it was only 6 hours class, and I was free in Mumbai, so I was free. So I did join the course. I didn't know about digital marketing at that time. It was like 4 years back, and I had no knowledge because in Jodhpur, Rajasthan, it was not quite famous at that time. After that, when I went there, I actually knew about the course, and it was an additional course because it was introduced that time only, and it was a free course. And I really liked the basic idea, so I joined that course, and that is the time when a spark of digital marketing interest came inside.
All right. Describe a time that you had to give a presentation in your college.
Okay, so I have given a lot of presentations in my college because it was a very representative age. I have given group presentations and personal presentations also. Would you like comment which should I describe, the group one or the personal one?
Anyone that you're comfortable with. I'd just like to know if you're really an extrovert. I mean, we are meeting on a virtual level, right? So I want to know you better.
Yeah, sure. Okay, on the latest, I gave an presentation on dictatorship versus democracy, the current Indian structure right now. So it was a research project in which I actually had to give what are the basic insights of everything. Sorry for the disturbance. Okay. In the presentation, I was actually giving a lot of insights about how Indian structure right now is working. Is it a democracy or it is a dictatorship? I was basically at the conclusion. We had nine members in our presentation, and it was a black book project. So yeah, this the first was so mine was basically how to demonstrate like how to demonstrate. So I did surveys, I did interviews with my teachers, and many people online also, whomever I can find. I could just record them and then go forward with it to see how, because it was a very bleak topic, and I really wanted to make it really interesting and involve as much as visual and basically participation from both the sides.
Okay. And how will you rate yourself on the scale of 1 to 10 based on your digital marketing knowledge?
I think I would rate a 7 because rather I have a great theoretical knowledge and project knowledge, but I would really like to be a part of a practical experience in which real money is involved. Because right now I have done projects which are not included as a money perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a more of a theoretical journey that I have done right now with a great practical exposure. But still, I would like to go on a practical and more field work.
Right. Okay. I'll like to move forward to some technical questions. Name some PPC tools that you've used.
Okay, so one of the some of the PPCs were Google AdWords, in which we could actually do a PPC, and then for keyword research for PPC, I've used Google Keywords, SEM Rush, and Uber Suggest. So these are the PPC tools that I've used.
Okay. And what are long tail keywords?
So long tail keywords are those keywords which are more than 3 words, in which there are more sale oriented keywords, in which we actually want people who are searching for the right, who are near to the purchase. So like we target those people who are near to the purchase. Yeah. They have less
Okay.
competition
Explain
and we
few.
rank on the top of our SER.
Right.
Sorry.
Exactly. Now you pointed out the right keyword. Okay. So
Okay.
explain few limitations of online marketing.
So some of the it is highly competitive as it is cheap. It is highly competitive. It is changing from time to time. Like if today is another trend and tomorrow is another trend, it is changing time to time. Then sometimes people feel that it is a scam, and to make them visually believe is a big task nowadays because a lot of scammers are out there. Then
Okay.
if we are targeting a specific demography, and if there is no demography targeting, then it would be a great loss. And a person who understands the analytics only, then he or she can only do digital marketing. Otherwise, it would be a waste of money if you don't understand why your campaigns are actually failing. It would be a great loss of money there also. And you have to be constantly updated. You have to change your ads again and again. It is a lot of work because it is as dynamic as it can go.
Right. Differentiate page views and sessions. What is the difference between them?
Okay, page views are the views that we get. It is the impression, and the sessions are in which we can actually get the person to the landing page from the whole first page to the landing.
All right. Tell me the limit for AdWords ad characters.
I'm really sorry. I don't remember. I think it is 10 word. I don't remember the exact count of words.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Share your experience about the campaign immersion that you were a part of. All the tools. What was the plan about your team? What did you execute, and what was your outcome out of it?
Okay. So we were only a member of two. We were a part of only two-member team, and the another member was Vanta. I, we were friends before the work also, so we had a great rapport that way. So some of the tools that we have worked were StoryChief, Race.io, Brand Overflow. There were many tools, Dictanote and everything. So I will explain how would the campaign immersion go. So one of the campaign immersion was a content marketing task. There were tasks in which first was individual, in which so there were two tasks in which one of them was individual, in which I had to create a page in which I would compare your Learnica scores with some other company, and I would portrayed in the best way so that it could be published on their SEO page. So for that, I used a lot of tools. First of all, we had to do keyword research. So Google keywords, SEMrush, Uber Suggest. These were the tools that we used. Then for referral links, I would use backlink SEO tools, then brand overflow for more keyword researches, then making a story on StoryChief and seeing the SEO rank, SEO ranking and readability for that, then publishing it on Razor too. So these were some of the tools that we used. These were the same tools that we used in the group project. As StoryChief would actually help us to work simultaneously, and there were a lot of keyword researching tools. Some of them was there, and one of the main tool that we used was Dictanote because we had to write a content which was not plagiarized. So using Dictanote actually saved a lot of time because we could just speak and it would write on our own. So it actually saved a lot of time. That small SEO tools for plagiarism checkers, and there were many more tools. So these are some of the tools that I remember on the spot as MSSP.
Okay, if you have to name any three tools that you are really proficient with, what would they be?
Okay, so I think Google Keyword Planner, StoryChief because it has, and Canva. Canva has helped me a lot in the journey.
And any three tools that you really don't like and think that is somehow your weak part?
I think these are not my weak part, but I have used that eyedropper and all the tools that were given the first thing. That is eyedropper, that is word font, because I didn't found an actual usage to these tools right away because I think it would be a greater if I didn't had a brand image from the very start.
Right. And how do you define the connection between SEO and content marketing?
So I think content marketing is one of the major part of SEO because that is through how people come to a SEO. Because if you're not writing the headlines correct, then the people would not even click in your website. And when people click on a website, then they see the content there. And if the content is not there also, you would go and look somewhere else. So content marketing is a strategy in which we actually use innovative and new tricks and research. So the keyword that is used in the content is only used as an SEO tracker by the Google, and then only our page is ranked in SERP, that is search engine ranking pages. So using the right keywords in the content is very important, and using the right content in the right heading is also very important because we won't want people to come to our website and bounce back. So that is the content,
Right.
and SEO is very main.
Great. Then define SEO, just SEO.
SEO. So search engine optimization is a tool in which we would attract people through our content and through the search that they're searching through the keywords. So it is a process of gathering traffic through a natural way rather than paying for it.
Okay, now I'd like to ask you a few situation based questions. For example, there is one time when you made an unpopular decision. So, not everyone likes your decision that you made. How do you handle this feedback and how would you handle the situation differently in a team, project team?
Okay, so first of all, I would actually analyze if the people are not liking the decision because of me, or they are not liking the not because of what I presented, or they're just not liking the idea because it is not right for your product. Just because I wanted to portray an idea and I portrayed an idea and I didn't believe in that, I would surely not go forward it in against all my team members. But I really believe that idea is really great for the product, and my team members are not on the same page, I would like to try to them explain them from all the various angles in which they are thinking it is a con rather than a pro. So as we all know that coin has two sides. So basically, my idea would have two sides, and it would actually help them. So I would help my team members to understand why my idea is correct and how would it would save money or increase money or increase sales or decrease our losses at the moment.
Great. And how do you ensure that stressful situations in your personal life don't affect your work performance?
Okay. So I had a lot of so I don't need personal professional from the very starting. I knew that if I had some work hours, these are supposed to be work, and if I have done professional hours, these are supposed to be professional. So I also have
Yeah.
two SIM cards so that I cannot actually switch off my SIM card in the personal time because of the personal cell phone because work is more important right now in the time of phase that I am. I think work is really more important right now. But if there is a family emergency, I would always inform. If it's an emergency, then I would inform my seniors or whoever I should inform and go forward with the emergency. If there is no emergency and I could take care after my work hours, then I would actually prefer work over my personal.
No, I would like to know what are few activities that you do just to remain sane from all the work life load. If you get to
Uh,
like a lot of personal life and I mean, how would you segregate those two parts? What would be few activities that you do in your personal life to maintain this balance?
Okay, so first of all, I work out daily. So working out daily would actually help me gain physical knowledge, physically activeness. So in the morning when I get up, I do my workout. I walk my dog out. So that is how I maintain a relationship with my dog in the very starting. Then I do a proper um, timetable of what needs to be done. And as I already told, I keep with professional luck. So I actually inform my friends when I'm working out so that they don't message or talk to me at that time because I really want to do work and I would want to give 100% to the person I'm working with. And I basically make a schedule and I follow the schedule in which I had breakdowns. Like if there's work and if it's work from home, then 1 hour work and then 5 to 10 minutes break, which would actually help me bring a better perspective to work as well as my personal and my psychological
Yeah.
needs too.
Okay, so if your co-workers had a "this is how we do it" attitude to learning something new, for example, if you walk into any company and your team members have like this attitude that this is how we do it, how would you try to convince them to follow a different, more effective method of working?
I think I would first do it myself and then recommend them to do it because if they're doing things in a certain way, I would like to understand why are they doing in a certain way, and this is just to um, not just to waste time or just to be more productive because they know what is happening as their coworker. I think they're more if they're more experienced with me, I would really like to gain knowledge from them why they're doing things a certain way, and if the things that they're doing a certain way is not as per my judgment is correct, then I would really like to portray that idea to them that this is what is happening, and I would really like that this won't happen so that we are not wasting that much time. So I would be honest with them on the very first thing, and then show a little bit of empathy why they are doing what they are doing.
Right. All right. What was the company that you chose from the options?
Disney.
Disney. Give me a 1 second. All right. What is Disney's business model?
Um, Sorry, I didn't get it correctly. So like it's are you asking B2C, right?
Yeah, like
So
what is
it
the
is
business model that
okay.
they are working on?
Okay, it is a so Disney has a various sectors of business. So first of all, the theme park and the theme world would be a different business. Then there would be a Disney Pixar in which they are actually producing movies. Then there's so basically it is producing content and a good quality of content to people out there like movies and theme parks. So basically connecting to the customers really nicely. So yeah. Disney's basic
Okay, how
model
would
is
you,
to
yeah,
sorry.
how would you describe the expansion that Disney has made from being a cartoon channel to like today it's a OTT platform with like which has a lot of movies and albums and all of this. So what is this chain? What is this in like how do I put it into words? What is this journey that they've put? What is the reason behind it? What do you feel?
Okay, so So this was actually a story in my seventh grade as well. So Walt Disney produced a character named as Mickey Mouse in 1928, and he was really scared of mouses at that time. And to overcome his fear to a mouse, he actually gave it a cartoonistic image in which he could actually see a mouse, but not actually feel how he's afraid of it, but rather how he enjoys the no, enjoys the mouse in his own perspective. And that from that time, I think Disney has always been a place in which they have included everyone. So Disney has a formula known as everybody anybody is a princess, in which they actually became a fairy tale, and every person from the very starting of their age always knew Disney. For our age, or from my father or mother's age, Disney has always been a channel on television in which people would actually watch TV, and would actually have relate to Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, and Goofy, and there are a lot of so all the movies that is Pixar production also is also Disney's, and Marvel Disney's, and another sort of way they're connecting to the so Disney has a basically Disney has connected to each and every person out there, in which they have actually connected them to their emotions. And this is how Disney is working by connecting people to their nostalgia, to their childhood, to making believe that every person is equal and every person has their dreams and their dreams can be fulfilled.
Okay, name three segments from which Disney generates revenue.
So first of all is the movies, and I don't know the segments basically because I thought that it was going to be a presentation thing, and I didn't actually portray all this. I really studied about the marketing strategies more. So some of the segments that Disney gained is the theme parks first of all, then the proceeds that they get from online streaming like Hotstar and their own Disney channels. Then the third would be, I think, the merchandise they would be getting. There's a lot of merchandise that Disney gives. So yeah, these are the three main
Yeah.
sectors according to me.
Okay, today, based on the Disney's performance that it's doing right now as an OTT as well and as a brand as well, who do you think Disney's customers are at this point of time? Just kids? Just adults? Give me an idea.
I think Disney has connected, as I already told, Disney has connected through nostalgia, which means it has been connecting to adults as well as kids. It has a very segmented people. So, like for kids, it is a dream to go to Disney World, right? For teenagers, also Disney World is a place in which they can actually enjoy rides while have fun with various things. Then there's a guy market and a female market because I don't know, but they have segmented it through way in which they actually go with Marvel theme. In which, if there are a lot of boys in India in which who are ashamed of like going for a princess theme, so for them also Disney has come up with various ideas like Marvel, Iron Man, in which they can actually
Mhm.
connect through that. So
Mhm.
Disney has, I think there is no gender, no age gap. Disney hasn't covered because from adults to kids, Disney has covered everyone.
Okay, for example, Disney is coming with a new product. It may be a movie, or it may be a new song, or it may be any other new cartoon channel, or maybe cartoon show. So, what digital channels would you choose to promote that new product that Disney is launching, other than just Disney's platform?
Okay, so first of all, the social media pages that Disney holds is a very great thing, that Instagram, Facebook, because nowadays, because of COVID, Instagram and Facebook has really gained up a lot. Then Disney is actually doing a lot of filters right now in which they could actually give filters for people on Instagram, and they are going viral on Reels. And Reels is one of the major source of getting audience nowadays because in COVID, people are really not having a lot of things to do other than watching reels. They can't go out. So, um, giving giving filters that they're giving of the new song or the new film or anything that they're producing, then going on social media, then partnering up with various online streaming channels like so when you open a Prime Now page, you can see sometimes ads there. So going with that Google Ads, in which they would actually segment on movie pages and this like this, then I think these would be some of the, and giving new merchandise, giving new offers, and giving making plat making making partnerships with Book My Show, matlab not partnership, but basically advertisements in which Book My Show and these are also covered inside of it.
Yeah, that's a great plan, I must say. Okay, tell me, present your market plan that you have for our company.
Okay, so can I present it like?
Yeah, just give me 1 second. I need to give you the access. I guess now you can.
Yeah. Hi, can you see my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
So Disney. As I say the word, okay, great. So as I say the word Disney, a lot of pictures come into your mind, and seeing this image comes Mickey Mouse, right? So Disney has not only connected people, but it has also shown people their dreams that they can have in from the childhood to their adulthood. So these are the marketing strategies that I would actually recommend Disney, and some of the marketing strategies are already recommended by Disney and are followed by Disney, and I would really recommend them to go forward with that. Is using nostalgia to establish and maintain customer loyalty. In which, so this is the character of Olaf, in which it was used in the movie Frozen, in which people would actually connect to this character as he was really clueless in the very starting, and then he really got friends, and people connect to people connect to emotions nowadays, and emotion is a very strong image, and when it's connected to nostalgia, it would actually give great impact. If Disney keeps producing pictures which can get the nostalgia in which what they wanted, what they would see in their childhood would also be presented in their adulthood in a manner in which they can actually connect nostalgia would be great. Then targeting audience segments with a multi-channel strategy. So as already mentioned, Disney has a different audience segments in which they are connecting the little kids by sharing cartoons in which, and also the teenage guys with Marvel series, and these are some of the ways in the Disney World, Disneyland, in which they have actually connected audience, which is from various segments. Then establishing Disney World and Disneyland as destination brands. I think every person in this world would like to go to Disney World and Disneyland, and these are the images, and these are some of the places which actually look like a fairy tale, and a lot of people go there also. And for little kids, it's a dream to go there. So yeah. It's a masterful brand storytelling and resonates and inspires, in which from for they inspire people. So like there's a movie called as Ballerina, in which a poor girl really would go forward and be a ballerina, and this is how they connect it. If it doesn't matter how you stay, if you're rich or poor, you can always achieve your dreams. And Disney has made sure that we can see how we can achieve the dreams. These are the marketing strategies. So partnering with more online streaming partners. So like Disney Plus is a site that they are already using, and they are partnered with Hotstar currently in India. But having more partnerships, like it was firstly connected with Geo, and it didn't get a good audience there. So they're recently connected to Hotstar. I think 1.5 years back. So connecting to more partnerships for streaming online would actually gain a lot of help in their streaming platforms. Then increase ads in YouTube and Instagram and interactive websites. So these their website is already a great source of going. So making the websites more interactive would help them, and increasing the ads that in YouTube and Instagram would actually help them a lot, because I personally me I have watched Disney a lot, and I haven't received any of ads on Disney on YouTube, as YouTube is one of the major source in which people can actually emotionally connect to your website. I think YouTube should be one of the major sources in which Disney should connect to their audience, and Instagram is one of the way in which I think nowadays every company is branding, and Disney should too. Thank you. So this was my marketing.
That was good. Really nice. All right. It was a great time. I had a great time having a conversation with you, Anjali. I shall get back to you soon. Meanwhile, take care.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.